Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I just got back from Black Widow last night. Watched it in theaters, of course. Didn't react to it here on the channel. And I just gotta say it straight up. A lot of people were saying this is a 10 out of 10 Marvel movie. A lot of people were saying it's terrible, like 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10. There's a lot of differing opinions for this movie, but I just have to say right now, 10 out of 10 for an opening sequence of a Marvel movie. I think the opening of Black Widow was the best Marvel opening we've seen in a long time. And I do want to say before this review gets started, this Stinkermeter here, spoiler warning of course, so if you haven't seen it yet and you intend on watching it, which you should, I will recommend it. You should go out and see this movie. Spoiler warning, of course, I'm going to be talking about the whole movie, so yeah, if you haven't watched it, don't watch this video. And again, before we do get started, I do want to say, like, these Stinkermeters, these reviews I do, they are so random. Like, I did one for Mandalorian, I did one for WandaVision, but I didn't do one for Falcon and Winter Soldier, even though I enjoyed it a lot. I'm not going to do one for Loki, probably. I didn't do one for A Quiet Place Part 2, even though I went to theaters to see that. I did one for Justice League. I'm doing one for Black Widow here, even though I said I wouldn't do it. I don't know why I'm doing it. Anyways, I'm not really good at this review stuff, but I am going to give my opinion on it because people want to know, I guess. So, and since I didn't react to it here, I feel like I should give my opinion on it anyways, because I do want to do this for like Shang-Chi, Eternals, and Spider-Man No Way Home when that's coming out. But anyways, Black Widow, the opening of this movie was so good. It sets up the atmosphere right away, the mood right away, touches on some of the themes of their broken family. And I do want to say, I went into this movie thinking it was a complete prequel, like a complete prequel before even Iron Man 2, and I was surprised. I was very surprised when I figured out that it takes place after Civil War. But yeah, it starts out in like 1995. Natasha, her sister, her fake family, her mom, her dad, mom and dad, David Harbour's Red Guardian, and Rachel Weisz's character, I think Melina. So they're all on the run from Shield, because they're actually infiltrated by Hydra back here. I'm pretty sure they are, because they were just like shooting at them, like straight up just shooting at them, trying to kill them. I don't think Shield would normally do that, so I'm pretty sure back here they were infiltrated by Hydra all the way up until Captain America Winter Soldier. So yeah, so that was Hydra. The whole family's getting in a plane. I'm not going to summarize the whole movie, by the way. I'm just going to summarize this like beginning section because I thought it was really cool. So we're seeing a little bit of her backstory. They're all getting in a plane. We see David Harbour grab a giant metal cart, like a dump truck cart thing, and he just flips it up. I did not know who Red Guardian was coming into this movie either. I came in pretty much blind. I only watched like the first trailer. I don't even know if I reacted to it here on the channel. But anyways, he flips that thing instantly. I'm thinking he's a super soldier. It turns out he is. That was crazy. He kind of reminded me of the Incredibles dad, the dad from Incredibles, who has super strength as well. But yeah, they fly off in a plane. They go to, I think, Cuba. I forgot exactly. It came out of the movies last night, so I don't remember every detail perfectly. David Harbour's character turns in, or well, both the parents turn in the girls, Nat and Yelena, to Dreykov, the main villain. And then after they're turned in, it plays a cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit, which just sets the mood up right away. I feel like this is just the best Marvel opening. Just plays that song out, has a bunch of flashing images of a bunch of things that happened in history over time, showing that Dreykov was there for a bunch of events. His like head is circled in red. But I just want to rewatch it just for that beginning section again. I felt like it just set it up right away, got me in the mood for Black Widow. I hear a lot of people not liking that cover, not liking the beginning. I like it. I think it's seriously one of the best. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the beginning just because I loved it so much. I'm not going to talk about the whole movie, but I did want to just touch on that a little bit. So let's talk about the scene stealer in this movie. First off, everyone's saying it is Florence Pugh as Yelena, which I'm glad she is returning because she was a very good character in this, very good acting. Even her Russian accent was pretty good most of the time. Same with David Harbour's. But I don't think she's the scene stealer in this movie for some reason. I know a lot of people do, but for me, the scene stealer was definitely David Harbour as Red Guardian. Just every time he was on screen, I wanted more of him by the end. Oh my gosh, I want so much more of him. He was definitely the comedic relief of this movie. He's just kind of like, I don't know, he's just like one of those characters that's just like stupid, like just an idiot, And it's just funny to watch. Like, just half the time he's just being a big baby or just being stupid in some way, but it's just funny to watch him be stupid and watch everyone else's reactions to him. And it's not really just him being like stupid or whatever. He's just so absorbed in himself. The whole like theme of Black Widow is dealing with family and stuff and their broken family, and then you just see David Harbour as Red Guardian, just so absorbed in himself, doesn't even care at all about his family really. But there are some moments in there where you do see that he actually does care, and he remembers a lot of his acting as their dad, their American father, back in the day, back in the 90s. He still remembers Yelena's favorite song, some cute moments in there. Overall, I think he was definitely the scene stealer in this movie, and I hope we see him a lot more in the MCU later on, because he definitely was not in this enough. At least him dressed as Red Guardian fighting was not in here nearly enough. I think he had like one fight scene and it got like cut off midway through a punch or something, and they just completely just cut him out for some reason. But yeah, I'm almost certain he's returning. I think I saw on Twitter that David Harbour has some ideas for even a solo movie for Red Guardian, which would be, I think, too soon. You shouldn't just make Scarlett Johansson wait a bunch of years for her solo movie and then instantly introduce this new character and make him instantly have his own solo movie. I feel like that wouldn't go too well with some people in the Marvel community, but I definitely think he can make some cameos and some other things later on. Or who knows, that end credit sequence, maybe he's gonna be joining US Agent and Yelena in the Thunderbolts or whatever club Val is making in the end credit scene. Because honestly, that's what I want to see. I want to see Red Guardian and US Agent fighting together. I feel like that would be sick. Yeah, if he is the comedic relief of the movie and the main scene stealer, who is the emotion of the movie? Who is the emotional scene stealer? And that I can definitely say Florence Pugh as Yelena, especially at parts where she like believed that they were all a family together. She really believed that they were a family, and there were some definitely sad scenes, especially when they were all joining together at the dinner table in the middle of the movie. Or was it the middle? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. But they're all joining together, talking about how their family was fake, or at least Natasha is. And Yelena just doesn't want to hear that. She's crying, believes her family was real this whole time, and everyone else is just doubting it. So yeah, there's definitely some emotion here with her character mostly. But yeah, so Red Guardian, scene stealer, Yelena, emotional scene stealer for sure. And now let's talk about the villains. Let's talk about the bad part of this movie, okay? So the bad things in this movie were the villains, and it ties in great because Natasha Romanoff was watching James Bond at the beginning of this movie. She was literally watching James Bond, which ties in a lot with this movie because the villains are literally, or at least the main villain is literally a Bond villain. He is so bad, so poorly written. I guess some of the writing was good on their part because you really do hate this guy. You hate the villain a lot because of what he's doing to all these girls across, like, he has like 7,000 or something of them across all of just the US alone, I think. Or maybe it was the whole planet. Was it the whole planet that was on his little board on the wall? I don't know. I'm pretty sure it actually might have been the whole planet that was on his screen. But yeah, he has so many of these widows. Such a bad person. Even turns his own daughter, which he didn't have to do, turns her into a weapon. Yeah, you really hate this character, but some of the writing was just really bad with him as well. He's like over here, like, don't he's literally over here with his ring, and he's just like, oh, don't look at what I'm doing. This is the only way to open my computer to show you where every single widow is placed all across the world. Don't look. And he's like clearly swiping his ring on the thing, like, oh, this is the only way to open it. Don't look. Opening it right in front of Natasha's face. And there's just so many like dumb twists, mostly in the third act, mostly near the end. I think everything else was pretty good, but then this end part had so many just like, they're flashing back to the middle section of the house and doing some weird twists, as if like Natasha and her mom had some dialogue of how exactly this plan would go. Just some like weird, I don't know. It makes sense, but it's just like, I hate when they just spoon feed you exactly the conversations they were having before they were captured into the red room in the sky. I felt like I was kind of watching a JoJo fight at some points. They were just like, oh, I did this move because of this, and they would flash back and then show exactly how they thought of this move and did all this. I don't know, it was a little weird. So yeah, the main guy, don't go in expecting a good villain. There is not a good villain here. And now let's talk about Taskmaster, another villain who is not that good, but a little better than the main villain at times. So the introduction of Taskmaster was really cool because you see Taskmaster sitting down in the Red Room somewhere, studying superheroes, Marvel Avengers on the screen. He's studying Black Panther, he's studying Hawkeye, and they're both doing a fight straight out of a Civil War scene, and he's just like watching them. And knowing Taskmaster, I mean, some of the people in the audience didn't seem to, especially people I went with, didn't seem to know who Taskmaster was. So good thing they explained him a little bit here, but they didn't do enough explaining exactly what Taskmaster does, because like he's just watching Civil War scenes right there. But they don't explain until later on why he was doing that, how the power works exactly, how their backpack power works. I'll go into more detail in a bit, but like I don't think they did Taskmaster justice in this. They didn't explain the character enough. They didn't give them enough time to develop really at all. It's just chase scene after chase scene after chase scene, no dialogue whatsoever, which Taskmaster, I was going in hoping they would have a lot of cool dialogue because they could disguise their voice as anyone. So it would be cool if like she gets a phone call from someone and it turns out that person later on is Taskmaster or something. I don't know. Something cool. Disguising the voice. No dialogue at all though. None. But yeah, it was really cool to see them at the beginning. They were studying the people, and then their first fight with Natasha, copying her moves, mirroring it. That was really sick. Even so, I think they copied, in the beginning it was Captain America, and then he copied Black Widow's moves. So that's 2. And then later on he pulls out a bow, copying Hawkeye. Then he does a Black Panther move. Then he flips a blade. I'm pretty sure that was a Winter Soldier reference, even though it might have not been exactly him copying Winter Soldier. But I think he copied 5 people. I think that's it. I was wishing he would copy a bit more. But yeah, I think those 5 were the main ones. He might have copied Spider-Man. At one point he like swings on a thing, but that might have also just been Natasha, Black Widow. So yeah, those parts were cool, but I don't think it was obvious enough to some of the audience members. I just feel like they didn't know who Taskmaster was. Even when they explained Taskmaster, no one was really excited about the copying of moves. I wish it would like maybe pop up with something like you'd see it in the visor, a picture of Black Panther pop up or something, and then his moveset would change, or Natasha pops up, moveset changes. But I don't think it was obvious enough to some people. And again, the character had no personality. They just didn't say a single thing through the whole movie. I was expecting to see them a lot more, but it was just they would show up here, play some big bassy sound effect when they show up, like wow. Even though I felt no real threat against them, they weren't doing enough, I don't think. But they did have some cool techniques to them where like he would pull stuff, or she, I should say, pulled some stuff out of their backpack. So I think they got like a shield twice out of there, got a bow. I think it turns into a parachute at the end. So they have some kind of weird backpack, but I would just wish it was explained more. I wanted to see more like the technology side of Taskmaster. Give them more depth. I don't know. So yeah, if you're going in for villains, Taskmaster's cool when they fight, but they're not developed in any way, and the final fight is tragic. The final fight is awful with Taskmaster. I think there's 5 punches thrown, like literally 5 punches, and then Black Widow just smashes the vial, and then Taskmaster is awoken back to a normal human. So yeah, if you like action movies, go into this. It's one of the most action-packed Marvel movies for sure. It's boots on the ground. No flying around Captain Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, none of that. It's boots on the ground, classic spy movie stuff. Kind of reminds me of Captain America and the Winter Soldier, of course, but it also reminds me of James Bond because of how bad the villains are. They did leave some room there for Taskmaster to return in the future. I think there's nothing saying she still doesn't have the technology. The goggles maybe are the thing that mimic everything and mimic her movements, the suit she wears maybe. There's nothing saying she can't return it even as a superhero later on, or maybe be recruited by Val just like Yelena. But yeah, we really have no idea. Taskmaster is left out in the dust. I mean, the Black Widows, the Widows take her in with the Yelena, of course. So she's either going to be like a free human now, or she's going to continue fighting on and become a superhero, maybe turn into a villain again later. I don't know, but there could be also other Taskmasters out there. We don't really know yet, but hopefully they do justice for the character, bring them back in some way, and just show off their abilities a bit more. The final fight could have been way cooler if Red Guardian, Yelena, Natasha, and their mom all just teamed up, and then he couldn't like mimic their styles completely, because he's supposed to be able to, or she is supposed to be able to mimic them completely, like in an instant, all these different fighting styles. But if there's 4 people against Taskmaster, I feel like they'd just be overwhelmed. They wouldn't know who to mimic at what times, and then they could overcome the challenge of Taskmaster and defeat them. But it just ends with like 5 punches on the ground, and then she's awoken. So I think the final fight definitely was one of the worst, but it also just was kind of like a bonus fight at the end. The main fight happened in the Red Room, so I guess maybe you shouldn't be disappointed with it. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I don't know. I felt like it could have been a lot better. So yeah, I'm taking some points off for the terrible villain writing of the main guy, and Taskmaster just not being utilized in a cool way enough. The final fight not being too good. Oh yeah, and I completely forgot to touch on this random dude that shows up, I think 3 or 4 times during the movie. He's like Natasha's friend, her ally at points, gives her a bunch of random stuff like a helicopter, a jet at the end, some fake IDs and stuff in the beginning of the movie. I feel like he was just, I don't know, there just to be convenient. I feel like it would have shown a lot more character in her if she was able to do all that on her own. I don't know, I feel like that could have made her character a little cooler, but they just had this guy giving her a bunch of stuff throughout the movie, which I didn't feel a big relationship with them anyways. So I don't know, I feel like he was just in there just to be there, just to give her stuff. I don't know how you guys feel about that character, but he was just a little weird. I don't know. I didn't know if they were like, were they living together, or did they like each other at some point? Were they a thing? I don't know. That guy's just there. He's just there. It's also not stated exactly how Natasha outruns like Thunderbolt Ross at the end, or is that his name from Incredible Hulk and all that stuff? It's not stated how she gets out of that situation, because all these like SUVs show up at the end of the movie, and Natasha just like looks off in the distance to the horizon, and then 2-week time jump to her with her blonde hair wearing Yelena's vest, as she does in Infinity War. But yeah, it's not stated how she got out of that situation. I don't know. I believe it. I believe she can get out of there in some Black Widow way, but I wish we kind of saw that a little bit. I don't know. It just kind of does a random time jump. But yeah, that's just me like nitpicking at random parts. I'm not taking any points off for that. I just wish we could have seen a little more of that. And another thing that really like kind of ruined this movie, it's not ruined, it's not a bad movie, it's a good movie, but I feel like this would be so much better if it happened before Endgame. You know, the only thing that wouldn't make sense is the end credit scene. They'd have to change the post credit scene, of course, because it shows her tombstone, she's dead, so they'd have to change that. But this would have been so much better back then. I feel like I would have had a stronger connection, because I really did not care at all in Endgame when she died. That's not me being not a Black Widow fan, that's just me. You don't really feel a strong connection to the character. For the people that did cry, I guess they really did like the character, but like I don't know, I feel like a lot of people really would have liked this back then, but there's nothing you can do about it now. Nothing you can do about that. I shouldn't even complain about that, because there's literally nothing you can do. Now, for people that are just getting into the MCU, I feel like that'll definitely help them like Natasha a lot more. If they watch this right after Civil War, of course they have to skip the post-credit scene, and then when Endgame happens, they'll probably be very sad at her death, because there's a lot of character growth in this movie, a lot of character development if you want to see that for Black Widow, because she doesn't get too much of it throughout the other MCU movies. I mean, she does. She changed a lot over time. Now you get to see a little bit of her past and her family, her broken family, where she really comes from. I think it's great. I think it's really great for her character. I just wish we got it before Endgame. Okay, but now let's talk about the post-credit scene in this movie. So Yelena goes off and is like crying over Natasha's grave, putting some stuff there, mourning over her death, of course. And that was about to be a sad scene until you hear Val come in and blow her nose. I thought it was Red Guardian at first, for some comedic relief, even though that kind of wasn't that funny. It was kind of supposed to be a sad scene, I thought, but then it was ruined by Val. But we know she's evil, so, or we don't know exactly what she is. She seems a little bit off, a little bit evil in some way. But I was very surprised by that. I was like, oh my gosh, people that haven't watched Falcon and Winter Soldier yet are going to be very confused. But then I remember this was supposed to come out last year. So this was supposed to be the first time we see Val, and then we see her again. And so it doesn't really matter either way. You're not going to really know who this character is anyways. But it was very interesting seeing her there because, you know, she has a US agent under her belt. Or at this point in time, she doesn't. But, yeah, wait, I just noticed that she doesn't have US agent yet. But, or maybe she does, because it's after her death already. Maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier already happened. I don't know. Anyways, she has US agent, she has Yelena. We don't know who else she has under her belt, but it seems like she's forming some kind of team. And she sends Yelena after Hawkeye. Or maybe she says he's responsible for her death, even though I don't know how she knows that information. I don't know why Yelena believes this lady. But it seems like we're definitely going to be seeing her. I think it is confirmed she's going to be in Hawkeye. I don't know if she's going to be a main villain, if she's going to show up in a post-credit scene or in some way coming after Hawkeye for some reason. Hopefully she can join up with Hawkeye, talk a little about Natasha, how much Hawkeye really loved Natasha. Because she needs to know, Yelena needs to know, it wasn't Hawkeye's fault. She literally sacrificed herself for the Soul Stone and saved the world. So I think Yelena deserves to know that. I don't think she'll hurt Hawkeye in any way. But yeah, maybe this will make Yelena go against Val because she just straight up lied to her right here. But yeah, I did think that was a really good post-credit scene. I did not see that coming at all. So yeah, that was very surprising. And of course, a lot of people in theater were confused if they haven't seen Falcon and Winter Soldier yet. So yeah, I had to explain to the people I was with, at least, who that character was. People gotta beyond that with the Marvel shows, the Disney Plus shows. But yeah, adding up all the negative stuff, which wasn't too bad. It was mostly just the villains that were the bad parts of this movie, and then that random MacGuffin man that would just give Natasha stuff through the movie, which I think would have been a lot better if she could do all this herself, because we saw at the beginning, like, all these FBI people thought she was hiding up in a apartment building, but really she was all the way on a boat in the middle of the ocean. So she can do a lot of stuff herself. I just wish they let her be the one to get the jet by herself, get the helicopter together, do all this other stuff, and not have this guy giving her all these MacGuffins, you know, throughout the movie. But yeah, Black Widow, we're going to plug it in here to the Stinkermeter, give it a 75%. That is 25% stink on the Stinkermeter. So yeah, I definitely think it's a solid movie. You should go out and see it for sure. I think just the main thing, if you like action, you're gonna love this movie. There's a lot of it, explosions, tons of it. I even like some of the explosion effects were really cool. Like her hair would just catch on fire. I don't know why I'm saying you should go out and see it. If you're watching this, you've already seen it. But yeah, that's what I give it, 75%. I think we just take off some of the points, maybe even an 80. I don't know, 75 to 80. I'm not really good at reviews anyways. I just like talking about the movie. I just have no one here to talk about it with. So anyways, talk about it in the comments. I'd love to talk with you guys about it. 75 to 80%. I just think the villain, like some parts I was just cringing at of how bad the villain writing was. Like some of the twists that weren't really twists as well. Just some of that just takes off the points for me. And the CGI, a lot of people said the CGI was bad. I didn't see too much of it except when like Nat or Taskmaster were swinging through the air. Sometimes they would turn into some CGI creatures. But yeah, just all that stuff combined takes off 25%. So I give it a 75 out of 100. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy my review, my Stinkermeter on this. I don't know why I call it Stinkermeter. I have no idea. Anyways, this is a terrible review. Yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next video.